And it's kind of a laboratory to try things that then, once you prove them out in India, you can take to other places. And so our biggest non-US office for the foundation is in India.
Months. That is a gap between a private pandemic simulation run by one American's billionaire's organization and the first ever confirmed COVID case in Wuhan. 2 months. Hold that number. Because this same man, while publicly positioning himself as the savior of developing nations, stood in front of the world during COVID and fought against giving our India, the right to manufacture its own vaccines. Our scientists, our labs, our people dying. When he said no. And this same man said on a recent podcast on the record, which I will be giving here, his exact words is like this. It's easy to try things in India. It's a laboratory. I'm not making allegations.
And it's kind of a laboratory to try things that then, once you prove them out in India, you can take to other places. And so our biggest non-US office for the foundation is in India.
Let's now check the reel. Bill Gates is the gentle grandfather in glasses who donated Microsoft billions to fight malaria in Africa and polio in India. He visits our country. He makes chai with local vendors. He is a philanthropist, a giver, a global health hero. But on record, in 2009, tribal girls in Andhra Pradesh and Vadodara were injected with a cervical cancer vaccine. These were not volunteers. They were the daughters of daily wage laborers, people who could not read English consent forms, whose hostel wardens signed on their behalf without their parents ever knowing. After the injection, some girls fell ill, some died. The organization running this trial was funded by the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. When an inquiry was called, it found nothing significant. It never does when powerful people are involved. Now let me show you the system, not one bad decision. A system. The Gates Foundation is the second largest private donor to the World Health Organization, ahead of almost all the countries on earth. But these donations come with conditions. Researchers found that 83% of money Gates Foundation directs to WHO is earmarked for infectious diseases specifically. Only 1% goes to diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, the actual leading killers of humanity. But why infectious disease? Let's follow this money. Gates Foundation funds companies building vaccines for those exact diseases. Those vaccines then go for WHO for the approval. And WHO, which receives billions from Gates, approves them. You don't need to individually convince 80 developing countries' governments. You get WHO approval once and all will follow. Gates Foundation also funded Gavi, which is a global vaccine alliance. Gavi has 4 permanent members, one the Gates Foundation, then the World Bank, UNICEF, and the WHO. Here is the part that we should make stop. Gates Foundation is also the top private donor to UNICEF and the top private donor to the World Bank. So every single pillar of this global vaccine alliance is funded significantly by the same private American foundation. Gavi's job is to pre-order vaccines from companies, billions of dollars in guaranteed orders. So companies research without financial risk. And those companies must sign 2 agreements also. First, cost plus 5%. You cannot sell vaccines to developing countries above cost plus a 5% profit margin. Sounds generous. Remember this. Second, step-in rights. If any company violates this rule, the Gates Foundation has the legal right to seize their technology, the chemical formulas, the production methodology, the intellectual property. So, the Gates Foundation funds the research, controls the pricing, controls the technology, and controls the approval through WHO. This is not charity, this is architecture. Now let's bring this to COVID-19. One key chemical used in malaria vaccines is called Matrix M. It triggers immune response in the body, and the same chemical was used in COVID-19 vaccines. Same supply, same control chains, tracking black directly or indirectly to Gates Foundation influence in 2021 while millions were dying globally. India and South Africa went to the World Trade Organization with just one request. Please waive the COVID vaccine patents, temporarily at least. Let our pharmaceutical industry produce generic vaccines. Let our people live. The public figure who stepped forward most aggressively to oppose this behavior was Bill Gates. A man who says he wants to save the world from infectious disease. A man whose foundation is the backbone of global vaccine approval. A man who called India his laboratory. Opposed giving India the right to make its own vaccines. Why? Because if India manufactures independently, who controls the chemicals? Who controls the methodology? The entire architecture, the WHO approvals, the Gavi contracts, the step-in rights loses its grips. This is not philanthropy protecting the poor. This is a monopoly protecting its territory. And then there is one detail that I want you to hold. In October 2019, exactly 2 months before the first confirmed COVID case in Wuhan, the Bill and the Melinda Gates Foundation co-sponsored a global pandemic exercise called Event 201. The simulation modeled a novel coronavirus outbreak, the exact type of pathogen, the exact type of global spread, the exact emergency response framework that became a reality in 2020. 2 months before, you can call that foresight, maybe excellent preparedness. You can call it coincidence. I'm not telling you what to call it. I'm telling you it is documented. And I'm asking you, as a citizen of India, as a Keralite, to hold that alongside everything else you just heard and ask yourself, what picture do these dots make? Now, why does this specifically matter to us, to you? Because we have Attapadi, we have Wayanad, and we have several other small little communities still in Kerala, which is unfortunately uneducated and they doesn't know what is happening around the world. We are tribal communities, the same socio-economic profile as the girls in Andhra Pradesh. Communities that have already faced malnutrition crisis, institutional abandonment, decades of healthcare neglect. These are exact communities that they became testing grounds when powerful organizations needed populations who could not fight back. We have had Nipah multiple times. Every time Nipah hits Kerala, international health organizations arrive to observe, to study, to collect data. We were never told who funds those organizations. We were never told what happens to that data. We managed COVID better than most of our world. We did it our way, our doctors, our system, our community, and during that time, the country we belonged to, India, was denied the right to make vaccines independently because a private American foundation decided its intellectual property was more important than our lives. The next pandemic is not a question of if, it is a question of when, and when it comes, who controls the vaccine, who controls the chemicals, who controls the body that approves it. If those dots led back to one private foundation, then our health is not in our hands. We have already done a video on Blackstone, which literally connects these dots. You can go and have a check because everything of this is connected. I'm not telling you what to decide. The record is everything in front of you. The timeline exists. The agreements are documented. The donations are public record. And the quote, India is our laboratory, was said out loud on a podcast by that man himself. All I'm asking you is to stop accepting the real and start demanding the record. Share this with just someone who never questioned this man's image. Because awareness is the one thing a monopoly cannot buy. Our scientists, our labs, our people dying. And he said no. And the same man said on a recent podcast that it's to try things. Then India is his laboratory. I'm not able to get that sentence out of my mind. Okay, and today, every dot leads somewhere you were never supposed to see. Keep questioning, keep informed. I'll see you for the next one.